Okay, great. Thanks a lot. So my name is Arkadiusz Szymański. You can call me Arek. I'm the head of the EU Trade Office for the whole region, the whole CARICOM, all the CARICOM countries. So basically, I oversee the trade relationship between the CARICOM and the EU. I'm based in Barbados, but it's really great to be here. It's my first time in Belize, so really great being here with you. Talk about a bit the partnership, the trade partnership we have with Belize, with all the CARICOM countries. So basically, what is at the cornerstone of this partnership is what is here, the EPA, so Economic Partnership Agreement. Maybe some of you have heard about it. There's a lot of hype around it, but sometimes people don't know what it is in fact. So I'll just try to skim through. They gave me 10 minutes to talk about an agreement that has more than 1,000 pages. So I'll try to be brief, and I'll try to say just a few words so that you guys know what it is. But generally, I hope we have more conversations, more events incoming, thanks to various agencies. So where to start? So first of all, the EPA is really a development and a growth economic agreement. So it's supposed to basically stimulate growth in CARICOM countries and competitiveness, obviously, of Caribbean companies. So the ultimate aim is obviously that companies in CARICOM and both also in the EU are able to export, to invest, to import cheaper goods, consumers as well, obviously, but also to benefit from market reforms and participate in the whole network of global value chains. What we aim at here and why we're here at the summit, actually, the EU we're actually co-sponsoring the summit. We really want a renewed partnership with Belize in these tough times now of the tariff turmoil. I think we really have to look for other, sometimes other supply sources and other markets for export. It's really, we really want to renew this partnership of trust. Well, I'll say why. I mean, it's going to be, I think, very beneficial. So, so very quickly, maybe, can I switch this one on? It'll be more. So hello. Can I just? All right, cool. Thanks. So it'll be easier like that. So just briefly, what is the sort of the core elements of the pillars, as I said here, of the EPA? It's that it's asymmetric. So basically, it should be more beneficial to the Caribbean, so to Belize, than to the EU. One of the elements is of trade in goods. So obviously tariffs. But not only, even in services and investment, the EU has liberalized more than CARICOM countries. I'll come to that in a second. The second pillar is sort of regional integration. Not many people know, but the EPA has a vocation to enhance regional integration in the CARICOM. Actually, the EPA is CARICOM plus Dominican Republic, so it's quite relevant because when under the EPA, a CARICOM country such as Belize would grant or I would say rather, Dominican Republic would grant the EU a tariff treatment, a certain tariff treatment, for example, that puts 0 on a specific good. They have to replicate that to all the other CARICOM countries, so to Belize, for example. So that clause is not working ideally, but it's there, so we can always invoke it. And the third, there's also a lot of provisions on building regional networks, regional cooperation for regulatory matters, for example. The third, let's say, pillar is development cooperation. So all these provisions, of course, you have to implement them, and we are there. The EU is there to help. So we are providing a lot of support to stakeholders, to businesses, and governments to be able to implement that. And now the core sort of elements of the EPA, I mean, in terms of provisions. So one is trade in goods, so it's about tariffs. So I think I have another one. Okay, I'll switch to that later. The other one is not many people know it actually, and that's why we're also talking about this here, is that the EPA also has a lot of provisions on opening markets in investment and trade in services, as well as e-commerce, as you can see here. So that's also a paramount element of the agreement. It's not only tariffs, it's also opening markets on both sides. So Belize and the other side would be all the EU member states. I'll come quickly to that. And then the third element is that it has a lot of rules mandating market reforms, ease of doing business, so basically trade-related issues such as competition, innovation. I'll come to that as well. So quickly on the trade in goods, that's the big thing in the EPA, is that it liberalizes tariffs. So Belizean goods have benefited from, and I hope this will remain on the record, since 2008, all Belizean products can enter duty-free into the EU, in all the EU member states, and quota-free as well. Saying quota-free because EU sometimes are hit by quotas, such as the sugar quota, for example, in the US, if I'm not wrong, or for other products. So now, also on the opposite side of trade, the EPA liberalizes tariffs here for European goods. And actually, Belize is one of our excellent partners who have liberalized all these tariffs. There is a gradual liberalization of tariffs until 2033. But as of today already, more than 80% of EU goods enter duty-free into Belize. So what you just need, your exporter needs just to present a certificate of origin for whatever you want to import that states that it's really EU product. Your importer here has to claim this preference, say, I want the EPA rate, here is the certificate of origin, and there you go. You have 0% tariff for more than 80% of goods. And it's really already now a lot of consumer goods that are quite appealing because, for example, I don't know if you know that, but you can import duty-free cars from the EU. Cars, commercial vehicles, electrical vehicles. So you just need, this of course doesn't remove the need to pay the GST, yeah, or the excise duty, but it should remove the, it really reduces the tax base for those indirect taxes as well. So so that's really a key issue. On the side of again, on the side of the other way of trading, you also need to always present a certificate of origin, which is granted by your customs here. and there you go. You get the zero duty in the EU. And really, this zero duty for Belizean products is there to stay. I can guarantee you we will never impose additional tariffs on Belizean products. There won't be any Liberation Day in the EU, you know, with big, colorful cardboards with tariffs, etc. So, so we really, you know, we want this partnership to remain, you know, and thrive. There's a lot of other technical elements. I won't dwell on that too much. Rules of origin, what I said, just you need to prove the origin of the goods, have a certificate of origin. The interesting thing is the EPA gives you the option to accumulate origin with neighboring countries. So there's some arrangements that must be done between the customs, but if you import something from some input, for example, from Guatemala, as we had here in the conversation, hopefully legally or not, I don't know, but you can accumulate that with what you do here in Belize with that product, and it will be treated as the Belizean product, in fact. So you have to speak to your customs on that, because they should have specific arrangements with customs in the neighboring countries. There's other provisions on customs, on trade facilitation. By the way, you have a very nice project now with our valued partner from the IDB. We are co-financing a big project on a trade single window and an investment single window, which is now being launched. So we really hope that this works out. It will really significantly, you know, facilitate trade. There's provisions on avoiding technical barriers to trade, so all the non-tariff barriers, and also SPS measures. You know, it's all about food safety and health standards. You cannot avoid them. It's the EPA doesn't sort of allow you to bypass these rules in the EU, but the EU goods are the same. We have to comply with your standards here. This is the case of all the countries. No trade agreement virtually removes these requirements, but we have been really trying to support for almost 2 decades companies here in Belize to be able to comply with all these technical standards. We have also supported your Bureau of Standards, BAHA, and so we won't stop. We have a new program that will still, you know, build the capacity of your stakeholders and administration to comply with the technical regulations in the EU. So the other type of provisions is investment services in the EPA, and it's a bit why we're talking about here in the summit. You have market access provisions in some sectors. Belize has in fact opened their market to EU investments, basically saying, hey, you are totally free to invest in that sector. Notably sewage treatment, marinas, a lot of energy-related services. So then EU companies are, I don't know if are there any in the room, but they're free to come and invest, and they will get the same treatment. They should get the same treatment at least as Belizean companies. But okay, what might be more interesting to know is that Belizean companies can invest in the EU as well. So, and do also cross-border services. So all in the province. Oh, I did something? No. All the member states have opened their markets, almost 90% to Belizean services and investments. So I know it might be a bit of a challenge with the paperwork, etc. But it is possible. And we know about examples of Caribbean companies that have actually successfully invested in the EU. Even both companies went into joint ventures. So we are, of course, there to try to answer questions on that if someone is interested. On the services side, service providers from Belize can also do business in the EU. The EPA grants access, as you can see here. The tourist guides, chef, fashion models, performance, creative industry practitioners. Yes, this doesn't remove the immigration or temporary residence rules in the EU, but we are really working with our member states to gradually facilitate things on visas. And once you get it, yeah, you have this provision grants you really the access into the EU market. There's other provisions, management trainees for affiliated companies, self-employed, and etc. We also have a protocol on cultural cooperation where there is enhanced cooperation in terms of creative industries. But we're working actually on making this more actionable. And there's mutual recognition. This is interesting because normally Caribbean engineers or architects, so those type of professions, liberal professions, could also do business in the EU. The only requirement is that there is actually an agreement within the CARICOM, that basically recognizes those qualifications. And then when there's an agreement within a regional agreement, there can be an agreement with the EU. It has to be between the private sector organizations. I'm not sure how much time I'm left because I think I'm. Yeah, there's still time. Well, that's great. And then the sort of third strand is those sort of just trade-related things, but equally important also in terms of investments, of ease of doing business. For example, the EPA mandates that the signatories of the agreement should not enter into uncompetitive practices. They cannot abuse their dominant position. So basically, it's about applying competition law. This is still in progress in Belize, but we also are mandating cooperation at the regional level for competition law. So your here Belizean officials have been also, we have helped training them also in how you apply competition law, etc. So hopefully, this is to create fair market conditions for all businesses here within Belize and those that come here to do business. Innovation, technical property, a lot of provisions on that to protect IP. Belize has made really great progress in going to. Okay, I'll be finishing soon. So great progress on participating in international agreements on protecting trademarks, protecting designs. This is all important for your creative practitioners as well, designers, so that they have their what the fruit of their work or creativity is protected also in the EU. Your geographical indications as well. You can register a geographical indication. Let's say we could say cocoa from Belize or Belizean rum, and you can register that, and you can have that protected in the EU. We're currently negotiating an agreement with all the CARICOM countries so that this is enshrined in law, and we're pretty close already. So that's another opportunity to penetrate the EU market with your brands. Public procurement, actually, the EPA also has some provisions on, I'd say, sort of forcing some transparency in the government procurement market. Yeah, we've been also supporting you and all the countries in achieving that. And there's also some provisional protection of personal data, which is also kind of important if you do business with the EU. There also we have supported a lot your stakeholders. So just in a nutshell, what the EPA offers, so access to the whole EU with 0 tariffs, and also cheaper inputs and cheaper consumer products here for you, for your consumers, your businesses here in Belize. Please ask your business support organizations, your governmental officials on how to achieve that. We have unfortunately seen that this is not common knowledge in Belize, but I hope at least this presentation and some other actions will be undertaken here in Belize will, sort of raise the awareness of that fact, the fact that you can really gain, especially if you invest. It's very important to be able to import, capital goods, technology, machinery, equipment, and you can do that duty-free here. And also on the export side, the excellent presentation by Professor Steen on the first day. I mean, he was great in saying about all the opportunities in Mexico and the US. I think what we can add is also there's the same enhanced opportunities to export more to the European Union, because there you also have a competitive edge. You have a 0 tariff to enter the EU, while a lot of other countries don't have that. So, opportunities for investment services, market reforms, what I mentioned. There's enhanced transparency, normally under the EPA. For example, you have to allow access for telecoms providers to access the network. Also, you have to have independent market regulators. This is all mandated by the EPA, of course. And our thing is how it's being implemented, and we're trying to support governments with that. So I've been probably already too long, right? Okay, great. I had another example, but that will I hope we can share that afterwards. Okay, cool. If any questions, I'm still here for about 15 minutes, so yeah.